Well, we made it to Wrangell, and we're walking on the streets above up the hill off the main street. And there's some nice houses here. Oh, there's a church right there. And over that way is the marina and all the shipyard facilities. And if we keep walking a little bit along here and look over to the right, we might, yeah, there we go. A little town and a big, huge cruise ship in the foreground there, or at least the background, just behind that tree. And come back in this direction again, and our boat is over that way. We'll walk down the hill. That boat right there is not ours, but there's Judy holding Kona. We're getting down towards the main street now. That Yamaha steel dealer is on the main street. But I thought it was pretty cool. They're just fixing up a park right here with a bunch of totem poles. There's 3 totems there, and as we go back down in this direction, there's a totem right at the edge of the park, and Judy way down the street from it. We are now on Main Street. Actually, they call it Front Street. And if you go down the street, you can see there are there's that market right in front of us, and a hardware store across the street from it. More markets and plenty of places to buy all sorts of things. You buy just about anything you want here. And as we pan over to our left, you can see that it is Front Street, and some shipyards and facilities for fishing, I imagine. And over that way is Judy, and the marina is over that way, and the I think it's called the Marine Restaurant right there with the flags up front. That's where we're going to watch the hockey game tonight. I found this a little funny. The Anchor Properties monthly and nightly rentals right beside this house. I don't think we're going to rent it for a month or a week or anything. Over this way is pretty interesting. And there's a shipyard over here, and you can see that there are boats out of the water. I think if you wanted to come up and store your boat, this would be a good place. It looks like there's boats up to about 50 feet in there. Well, I lied before. The blue building that I pointed at said where we're going to have dinner tonight was not that one, it's this one. And they have a big screen TV, and they are going to have the hockey game on, which is the 3rd game of the Stanley Cup Finals, with the Oilers and the Panthers tied at 1-1. Over that way is the harbor. You can see the inner part of the harbor right there. And I'll stop the video now and start it again in a minute or so when we see the main harbor. Well, here's the outer part of the harbor. The over early is just down the end, not that one, not the biggest one behind the green shed, but well down the dock with the blue top. So over early's there. That's a transient dock you can see out there. And then out this way is the entrance to the harbor. Over there, the entrance is right there, and here's the harbor office, and Judy and Kona waiting for me to go in and pay for our mortgage. Well, here we are on the dock in Wrangell, and we're looking out towards the entrance to the marina, and that piece of land over there with houses on it and stuff is the actual breakwater, and it's pretty quiet and very settled in here. And the some more moorage over that way. And I'll go back because I wanted to focus in on the fuel dock, which is over there. And a boat coming into the harbor. And just around the side of that boat over there is, I think it's the Viking Princess, I believe. We were down there a few hours ago. And then this is into town. And there is the inner marina in that way. And Judy and I took a walk over that way into town, up amongst the houses up on the hill, and partway up that hill, I guess you can see over there. We were able to get the drone up in Wrangell Harbor and flying towards the cruise ship dock right now, and we'll just do a circle around the harbor and have a look. There's sort of downtown Wrangell, and we're going to turn to the right, and oh yeah, underneath us is the boatyard. And it looks pretty comprehensive. And okay, we're going to turn to the right and look into the inner harbor. No transient moorage in there. All of the local boats, the smaller local boats, going into the inner harbor. Now we're looking south over some of Wrangell, flying over the harbour, and we'll just take a circle around the end of the harbour and back towards our own boat. In a minute, we are going to see the fuel dock, and it's worth knowing where that fuel dock is when you come in. There, you can see the fuel dock just underneath us now. And that's why we stopped the drone there. Now we're panning over early, and we're going to just go towards her and land. And Judy just told me to remind everybody that the boatyard that we flew over is a popular place to store your boat if you're coming up for and want to leave it here over the winter. Here's an early morning look at the start of downtown Wrangell. Judy talking to somebody. She's chatting somebody up, but this is, if we were to go farther, you'd see a lot of little clothing stores. There's a couple more hardware stores, and Wells Fargo and a bank, and another supermarket. Over here is a great place for anything you need. Well, there's hardware and marine. It's a good. There's a better view of it, and then go across. See, very early morning in Wrangell, and there is another cruise ship. We've been here for 2 nights, so a little less than 3 days, and that's the third cruise ship we've seen here. And then going back over here, here's the city market, and that's a pretty good place for. To buy provisions, right about a 3-minute walk from the marina, and down that way there's a bigger food store. But it's time to get back to the boat and off to Petersburg. Okay, we're leaving Wrangell now. Somebody's got a live mic. You can hear on our radio keeps making noises. We get far enough away, that'll stop. Well, there's that big cruise ship that's the third one, as I said, the dock. And this is the waterfront of Wrangell over this way. And here are the boat yards, and a big travel lift and boats under the water. And over that way is Wrangell Narrows. And there, that looks like a National Geographic ship right there. I'm not sure. It doesn't say Nat Geo on it, so I'm not certain. But nice looking boat. A little guy in front of us, and we're on our way. Okay, here we are going towards the Wrangell Narrows. We left Wrangell about 15 minutes ago. We have something like 15, a little less than 15 nautical miles to go to reach the end of the Narrows. And here's our plan. We're going to pan down to my little tablet that I've got Navionics on. That's not what we use for navigation. We use the Lowrance chart plotters, and it actually is Navionics. But here's the little chart plotter, and our plan, as you can see, it's flooding right now, and at the top of the Narrows, the flood is coming in from Petersburg, but the bottom of the Narrows, flood is going in the other way. It's funny you don't meet a big wave right in the middle, but anyway. So our plan is to get there about 2 hours before high slack, which will mean we'll get a push to the middle, and then when it changes, the ebb will go out towards Petersburg, so we'll get pushed out towards Petersburg. Of course, you know what they say about the plans of mice and men. I'm not really sure how a mouse would do this, but I think I'm a man, and the plans always change. But let's see what will happen. So I'm actually going to push this over. No, I can't. Okay, here's a bit better picture of what I was trying to say before. You can see this is about a couple of hours later. It's just after high slack, and you can see the ebb is going out towards Petersburg out of the Wrangell Narrows, and it's coming out against the bottom of the Wrangell Narrows, which is called Port Alexander. And so we're hoping to get to the middle right at slack, so we get a push out to Petersburg. The problem with that, however, is that we can get to Petersburg at a fairly high current, and there is current going through the marina, so docking is a little tougher. And so anyway, that's the plan. What you're looking at is about 3 hours from right now, and it's about an hour after high slack. So here we are, and there we are on our way. Okay, here we are entering Wrangell Narrows. You can see a red mark up in front of us. That's the first mark in Wrangell Narrows, and it looks like we're leaving red to starboard, with a boat coming towards us. So we'll take some videos on the way up here, but this is the first one. As I said, just entering the Wrangell Narrows from the south. Here we are about 10 minutes into the Narrows. Verified it is red starboard. This is a fairly narrow part, going almost 10 knots, so we've got 2 knots with us, and there's a boat coming towards us, and there's one coming up behind us pretty quickly. Here we are about 45 or 50 minutes into the Wrangell Narrows. I'm taking this picture, you can see all of the marks in front of us, and also Kia Ora boat we ran across in Shearwater. He went by us really quickly and nearly rolled us over. But you can see all the marks. We're okay now. And okay, what I was trying to say before, and I forgot what I was saying, is that we still have about a knot pushing us. We can see Petersburg up ahead, or at least the outskirts of Petersburg. And this part of the Narrows looks very wide. But if you don't see these marks, you go around. So if you're coming up after us, or you see this, watch these marks. And you see that and 8.4. So the push is diminishing. We got about 4/10 with us, and we're hoping that not too long it'll switch and go the other way. Okay, here we are coming into Petersburg, and we thought this was a pretty neat shot because you see all the snow in the mountains up there. And we're going to go over to Petro Marine, which is just over there, fuel up, and then stay here for 2 days. We were able to get the drone up again in Petersburg, so we're flying north over the Petersburg harbor. We're going to pan over to the right, looking into Petersburg, over some of the industrial buildings and some of the houses up on the hill. Now we're going south again. We're looking at the North Harbor, and we'll fly right over the breakwater and get to the South Harbor. We were in the North Harbor this time, but I think we prefer the South because it's a little further from town, but you go through some interesting places to get into get into Petersburg. So there we are. We're in the South Harbor, looking at one of the parking lots, and we'll just circle the marina and take a very quick look.
So the South Harbor seems to have larger fishing boats and other boats that are over 50 feet. And the last time we were there, we saw some beautiful fishing boats. The North Harbor seems to have a limit to how big the boats can be, maybe over 50 feet.
This breakwater we're coming up to, or the pier we're coming up to, I guess is best, a better term, is what separates the South Harbor from the North Harbor. There we are in the North Harbor again, and we're going to take a look over towards over early and go in for a landing, but we'll cut the video off before we do that.
We are just leaving Petersburg, and as we went by the Red Buoy, there were quite a few seals on there. for some reason they seem to like to hang out there. It's overcast, rather cool, and quite different from yesterday. I had my shorts and t-shirt on. It's difficult to see from this distance and also with the clouds, but I'm looking at a huge glacier